Hello everyone, as those of you who are watching my live streams on Twitch are aware, I am running right now 85 FCs of submarines. Each FC is making 30 million gil in average per month. Well, not all of them are on farm yet, but I'm getting there. And in this video I just think it's a good idea to share my strategy and how I manage everything. All the tips and tricks to make it as efficient as possible. I know some of you are also doing fleets and have been interested in a guide like this, so I thought I would share how we go about it. So the first step is obviously making the FCs and buying a house with them so you can run the workshop with submarines. Now the question will be, how do you buy multiple houses in the same server? And the way that works is basically I make 5 alts in that same server. Let's start with, let's say we're making 5 FCs the first cycle of lottery for housing, so that we can get 5 houses in that same lottery cycle. So what I do is make 5 alts and then I do the level 10 class quest with them, only up to the level 10 class quest. You don't have to do main scenario quests. Do a few main scenario quests to help you get to level 10, but outside of that you don't have to. You can mix it up with hunting log to get to level 10 quicker, and if you have road to 80 is way quick. And once all 5 alts are made and done level 10 class quests, now we go unlock any crafter. Do whichever crafter is useful. I do blacksmith mostly because I can quick synth iron nails, which are used to crafting more submarine builds. So I quick synth iron ingot until level 25. Well, you have to get to like level 14 to unlock iron. And then once you quicksynth all the way to 25, you can help your XP gain by equipping various veteran rewards. I have the friendship circlet, which gives you a more bonus XP till 25. You can use that, and also the Alamigan earrings give you XP boost as well for getting to 25. And once 25, now we can make FCs. Now, in order to make FCs, you have to have 3 persons to sign the petition for you. And what I do to help with that is I also have a second account, which I use for quick synthing and running submarines and making FCs. So I invite 3 alts from my second account, and that's 1 FC. Then I invite 3 alts of another friend. I have my siblings and Zian helping me. So if you have friends also helping you, that will be even easier. So they make alts for me to sign the FC petitions. And then that's how I make multiple FCs at the same time. And now the next step after you make the FCs is wait 30 days. Because you have to wait 30 days in order to buy a FC house. So after the 30 days are passed, each FC, some different people will buy the house, because you cannot enter the lottery for housing multiple lotteries on the same account, on the same server. You cannot. So one lottery, one house will be my main account, second house will be my second account, and then third, fourth, and 5, my siblings and my friend Zian helping with that. So that's how I get multiple houses in the same lottery cycle. And I don't even care about the plot. What I do is go for the cheapest plots, which are around 3 million. So the cheapest plots possible, I go for those. Put a lottery on that. So in total, along with buying the plot, opening the workshop, and buying the estate hall, it goes up to 4.25 million gil total for each house. So you have to have a budget ready to buy your houses as well. So now the house is bought, it's time to outfit the FC's houses, each with submarines. Now, the next step is... Another requirement for buying FC house is that you have to rank up the FC to rank 6. And you can do that with 59 HQ Exarchic rings. I find the Exarchic rings to be... Material-wise, it's the easiest way for me. You can also do Facet, but you will need 10 more extra rings. It will be 69 HQ Facet. Facet is a bit lower item level. And HQ gives extra FC credit, so it's important that you don't quicksand and actually HQ it yourself. Plus, by HQing it, you also get few more free company credits. You can basically use your main character to make the rings and then trade it to your alts that are leveling the FCs. Oh yeah, you need to have an alt per server at least that can do expert deliveries to the Grand Company in order to rank up all the 5 FCs. So every server have one expert delivery alt that goes through each FC one by one, handing in the Exarchic rings to rank up to 6. So you'll rank up one FC to 6, and then leave that FC and then join another, rank that one, and so on and so forth. So you're gonna need a lot of Exarchic rings. You can also buy green gear from the market board. Usually you can find some cheap ones. I would pay up to 8k for HQ and 7k for NQ. Green gear that is Exarchic level, Neo-ish Guardian, or Facet. Basically the Shadowbringer craftable ones. So just make the Exarchic rings. I think I could do it in 2 steps by doing veneration. I think it's a bit faster that way, yeah. Do 1 veneration, it's a bit faster to craft them that way. So it doesn't matter which ring, just do any, but just make sure you HQ them. And the materials are pretty easy. Alright, so that's how we rank up FCs. It's also another way to get Ceruleum Tanks to run your submarines once you get the workshop. So once the FCs are made, this is what I do to rank them up as quickly and as efficiently as possible. I make 4 builds for each FC. 2 full shark sets, shark components, and 2 sets that is shark, unq, whale. So SSUW builds, that's the fastest way to level up. And the fact is that the SSUW, some of the parts can be reused later. Like the first 2 shark parts for later. So none of the parts going to waste, that it can be reused for another FC later on. Or when we hit rank 75 to farm. So we want to rank up to 1 to 75 first. And at 75 we can use fully modified SSSC build to start farming. As I mentioned in my submarine guide, I showed that build. So let's put it in the scenario how it goes. So we unlock the workshop first. We have access to the first submarine. And the build will be obviously fully shark. That's the only thing we can equip at rank 1. But once we hit rank 15, we equip the unq bow. And then once we hit rank 25, we equip the whale bridge. That would give us more speed and range. And that will help us rank up faster. And then that will also free up shark bow and bridge for the next subs that we unlock. So eventually you unlock the second sub, same thing, you start with full shark, and then at 15 you equip this. You can also do unq bridge if you want, it's optional, it's expensive, I don't recommend it, but it does help speed up your ranking up if you want. Otherwise you can just go for whale. Unq is a bit less range, but the fact is that you can equip it at rank 15, you don't have to wait for 25. So that's the only benefit of it. I would still go for whale. I used to do Unkyu bridges at the beginning, but I'm not doing it anymore. It's way too expensive and it's just better to go for whale. But in the rare cases, I do Unkyu. So the same thing for second sub. You start with shark and eventually it becomes SSUW. And then third and fourth sub will end up with full sharks. Unless you wanna spend more and do even more whales when they hit 25. It's up to you. It does make you get to farm faster and you can reuse it later for FCs. So it can be beneficial to do. I won't say it's a fully bad thing, but if you're on a budget, then just do 2 full sharks all the way. And once the first and second sub hit 75, you do the fully modified SSSC to start farming as per my submarine guide video. And then third sub can become the whale. So it ranks up faster and catches up. So that's how it goes for every FC, basically, in terms of builds. Okay, so from rank 75 to 86, yeah, as per my video guide, we run SSSC. Look at all the yummy loot. Oh, yes. So we run this until 86, and then we go back to normal SSSC. So right now it's modified SSSC because we need the extra stats, the bonus stats that we get from modified parts until we get to rank 86. And then once we hit 86, we have gotten enough bonus stats from ranking up to not need modified anymore. Because modified is super expensive to repair. It costs 6 repair materials each. While the non-modified is only 1 repair material for shark for the 3, and then for the sea bridges 4. Even then it's still way cheaper. So the idea is we replace it with non-modified because we don't need modified. We both save cost in repairs and we can move the modified to the next FC that hits rank 75. So we keep recycling the modified builds because they are very expensive to craft as well. So unless you are sure you're getting multiple uses out of a modified build, do not go for modified. If you're only doing like 2 or 3 FCs, do not go for modified. It's not worth it at that point. It's only worth it if you can at least reuse the modified set for 2 FCs. Or at least for 1 FC, I'd say. So this is rank 84 right now. Once we hit 86, I'm replacing this with normal. Same build, but normal instead of modified. And I move the modified to another FC that needs it. And the way to move it to another server, you can make an alt to homeworld transfer it. Homeworld transferring to the new servers, like the ones that just came out, the Dynamis data center on North America, and the new EU servers, they are classified as new. Same with Oceania, still as of right now I'm making this video. They are classified as new servers, so transferring to them is free of charge. Doesn't cost any real money. So that's how I transfer my modified builds to another server that can use it. And I have FCs in the new servers that can reuse the modified parts. So this is how I go about it to make the most out of my expensive modified builds. And after you've done expanding your FCs, and you don't even need modified anymore, you want to go back to normal for every FC, so you save in repair material cost. You can resell the modified to another player, but you can only resell it in the same server. It's bound to your character. You have to put it in the FC chest. The buyer will invite you to their FC, or you invite the buyer to your FC. You put it in the chest, they put in the gill, and they take it out. That's how you trade the modified parts that are already used, or any other submarine part that is already used. So you can resell them later on too if you want. 10 extravagant earrings, that's pretty dope. Awesome, that's like 300k gil right there. I normally do records of discovery and unidentified directly from 75 to 82. And then once I hit 82, I'll add concealed bay for even more results. And you also get more experience this way, so you can get done with modified faster this way. And if you have another FC waiting for a modified, this is a good idea, so that your modified sets get more use quicker. And you can skip cutscenes really fast like that. Before it comes up, you have to skip it. The materials that make modified really expensive to make are cryptomeria logs and pure titanium ore. You can also do a build which is CUCC. Once you unlock the Sea of Ash, you can use that build to rank up. It will rank up way slower. However, sometimes you will get cryptomeria or pure titanium. This is the build. Yeah, I don't need modified. Yeah, this is sea hull, unq stern, sea bow, and sea bridge. And that will give you enough surveillance to get cryptomeria logs and pure titanium ore sometimes. But the speed is horrible, so you will rank up very slow. But if you're doing a fleet, it doesn't matter. It's kinda convenient to not have to resend subs so much anyway. I would say it will take around 2.5 to 3 months to get from 1 to 75 using my way. Now it depends on RNG of unlocking new zones. If you unlock the Sea of Ash really quickly, you get lucky with that, you will get there way faster, sometimes even 2 months if you get super lucky, because once you unlock Sea of Ash, you get way more experience in way shorter voyages. So it kind of depends on RNG how long it takes from 1 to 75. And 75 to 86 usually takes around 1.5 months to 2 months as well. If you switch to 3 zones at rank 82, you will rank up a little faster. But it kind of depends on that. Now this FC is almost on farm. I've been doing it slowly so I can get more pure titanium and ore and crypto logs. So I've gotten few logs and few ore. I haven't not been lucky. Usually by 75 I have a bit more ore and log, but this time for this FC's case I wasn't that lucky. If you wanna do Sildra bridge or any Sildra parts, you need Camosite ore. You can also use the CUCC build for that as well, before you unlock the Sea of Ash, if you choose to go for that. I've gotten plenty of those. By now you probably wonder how the hell do you get enough Ceruleum Tanks and Magitek Repair Materials to run 85 FC's worth of submarines. So I do a mix of buying and getting my own for the repair materials and for the tanks as well. You can buy Ceruleum Tanks from other players via direct trade. You cannot do it via the market board because it's market prohibited. So someone can buy the tanks from their FC and trade it to you, and you trade them gil. The way usually it goes is 1 FC credit equals 1 gil. So it ends up being 999 tanks, which is 1 stack for 100k gil. We have a trade channel in the Submarine Discord and in my Discord as well to trade, either for buying or selling. You can announce it there. So I buy a lot from other players, mainly from one player, which is a regular viewer of mine on stream. As for the repair mats, I did the most craziest thing ever, but I will talk about that in a bit. I have to also explain how I get my own tanks. So as I'm leveling up retainers, this is also mentioned in my retainer guide how I get my own ventures. So getting both ventures and Ceruleum Tanks work hand in hand, because when you do quick venture you get the green gear for expert delivery. I also explained it earlier in the video, while ranking up the FCs you also can do exarchic rings to get FC credits. You can do that as well to farm your own tanks. But expert delivery, by doing quick ventures you get a lot of stuff for expert delivery. And you can get tons and tons of tanks this way. But it's not enough that can sustain 85 FCs, obviously, so I also have to buy some. But I try to get as many of my own as possible via quick ventures. So quick ventures, get gear to hand in, get Ceruleum Tanks. Make sure you pop the seal allowance. This goes the same for when ranking up the FCs to rank 6. Make sure you get your own priority seal allowance from squadrons. I explain how to get these from squadrons in my squadron guide. Link in the video description as well if you don't know how to get these. So that's how I go about it. Oh crap, look at that inventory. I have a lot to hand in, so I have a lot of my own tanks to get soon. Alright, so that's tanks. So this is what I did for repair materials. Obviously I make my own too. I send retainer after the crystal, dark matter clusters, these ones. And crystal is cheap. Usually I use armorer because earth and ice crystals are the cheapest. So I mostly use armorer to make my own. But I also have to buy because, yeah, I couldn't sustain all of the FCs myself. If I had to make my own for all of them, that wouldn't be sustainable. So I noticed that in JP servers, Magitek Repair Materials were really cheap, but I didn't have much gil in JP. So what I did was, I noticed that sometimes Matthias and Balmung servers get congested, and transferring from a congested vault to a preferred vault is free of charge. So what I did, I made alts in Balmung and Matthias, hoping they will get congested soon, because I had gil in North American server. So I gave all of my NA gil to these alts, hoping it will get congested. And it did. Like few days later it got congested. So that meant I could transfer my guild to JP server. So I made this alt to transfer all of the guild to JP. And then it was 200 million. Now this is the second batch of it. I already transferred 90 million worth of repair materials to Oceania, my Oceania submarines. So Oceania is gonna be good for few months with that 80 million worth. So I made like 90 million more of repair mats and ready to be transferred, as you can see. And in JP servers, I cleaned out the whole JP data centers of the cheap Magitek Repair. It was like 1.4k each when I bought it. It's now back up to 1.7 almost. But when I bought it, it was like 1.4, so I got a lot of cheap repair materials this way, which is really nice. That means I have more profit from running my submarines. The past month of October 2022, I made total of 577 million gil from my submarine fleet. It will increase every month because I don't have all of the FCs on farm yet. As more FCs get on farm, it will increase. Eventually I might hit 1 billion per month, but that will be soon. But now I'm good on repair materials for a couple months now, so it feels good to not have to worry about it. But the more you make your own, obviously, the more profit it will be too. But for convenience, I like to buy a lot, and I found this way to buy them a lot on JP. Now that I bought them in JP, I can give them to another alt on JP, and server transfer it back to EU, Oceania, or NA for free, because they all have new walls. Oceania is new, EU have new walls, and now NA have new walls as well. So I can transfer them for free. So that was my trick for getting a lot of repair mats for really cheap. Otherwise, you have to send retainer after the dark matter clusters and buy the crystals when they are cheap. Usually ice and earth are under 20 gil each. So that's how I do with those. Now, when it comes to building the submarine components, how do I do it in the most efficient way? I have like a base price that I go for when I buy materials. I get some of my own as well, but I also buy a lot. For example, cobalt ingots, I buy them when they are 800 gil or less to save time. I also have a lot of retainers that is going after all of the materials that we need. And the gardens of each FC are really efficient for farming, void drakes, and Alphic lavenders. Those are really good because you can trade them. If you go to the material supplier in housing areas, Curious Crop Exchange. I went through this in my valuable low-level materials to sell to make guild guide as well. So when it comes to titanium and hard silver ingots, we use the Alphic lavender to get the mats. A mix of, well, I get the nuggets with the lavender, and then I do retainers for the hard silver ore. Or if they are 200 gil or less, then I buy them. Cloud Mica, same thing. I mostly do retainers, but I use the Alphic lavender to get the titanium nuggets, and so on. For dark steel, tons of things need dark steel. Dark steel ingots, rivets, nuggets, you know. So for dark steel ore, we use void drake seeds. So I have part of my houses, many of my houses doing void drake seeds, and many others doing Alphic lavender. This way I'm self-sufficient when it comes to dark steel and titanium and hard silver. We need tons and tons of steel, rivet, and mithril. And the Almaja Beast Tribe vendor, located in the southern Thanalan, is the best for that. I must have spent hundreds of millions by now at this NPC. So steel ingot, mithril ingot, iron rivet, steel rivet, mithril rivet, all needed for submarines. So I've spent millions and millions here. So I never craft my own steel and mithril. Obviously the mithril plate, you need tons of those. I buy the ingots here, then I have to quicksand them, because we can't buy mithril plate anywhere. So I also favorited the materials that I usually buy for submarine building. And what I do once every week, I go through all of them and just see what is cheap and what is not, and I just grab whatever I can. So that's what I do. I have a set amount that I'm willing to buy for each material. It's a lot of materials if I would go through all of them, but I'll just give you an example. Like dark steel ingot, this is ridiculous. Wow, and people are even buying them. Dark steel ingots, I usually pay up to 4.5k. Cobalt, I mentioned earlier. I think I mentioned earlier. Anyway, I usually go for 800 or less. Electrum, 800 or less. So let's grab those. Silver, 700 or less. Cobalt plate, I usually go for 1.5k or less. Cobalt plate. Cobalt rivets 1k, joint plate 1k. I have a very good other method for cobalt joint plates, I will show you in a bit. Cassia lumber up to 3.5k I pay for. Cedar lumber up to 800, yeah. Petrified logs, I usually get them myself. You know, when I hand in the expert delivery to farm FC credits, I get a lot of Grand Company seals, which I spend on these myself. So I don't buy a lot of these. But if I were to buy, I would pay up to 2k only. Hardened sap, I get my own with Grand Company seals. Coke, I usually pay up. Well, Coke goes up and down. Right now, a lot of people are buying, so it's really expensive. But I would pay 300, up to 300 for Coke. Otherwise, I will get my own. Unless I'm in emergency need, then I have no choice but to buy them. But I usually don't try to be in emergency. Oh yeah, I mentioned the Void Drake seeds and Alphic Lavender that I'm doing on most FC gardens. So these I usually pay up to 600 to buy the seeds and I plant them. If you have retainers doing Grade 2 Shroud soil, that's good because Grade 2 Shroud yields one extra Alphic Lavender or Void Drake, which is free. Normally it gives 2 with potting soils. It's what I usually do, but sometimes I farm some Shroud from retainers. Minor retainers can get you 5 Shroud soil per 40 minutes. So I usually go for that, but not the main focus. And for shards, what I do for shards is have my retainer farm the Ice Light seeds. Ice is the most used shard when doing a submarine fleet. Fire is used the second most, and then water third most. So Botanist retainer can get 50 of these each 40 minutes, so don't buy these at all. So I have part of my fleet houses run ice, part runs fire, and others run Alphic Lavender and Void Drake. So I kind of do a balanced mix of them to be self-sustained. Another cheap way to get some materials, including titanium ingot, especially cobalt joint plates and dark steel ingots, is desynthesis. So once every 2 weeks I go through the market board and clean out the cheap Hinnigan mansion roofs. This is the new server, so it's not populated, so there are not many listed, but usually there is tons and tons of cheap ones listed. So I pay up to 10k for these and desense them. It's really good supply of cobalt joint plate, crystals, titanium, and the Hinnigan open shelf bookcase for dark steel ingots, best for that. So I just go through every server in the data centers and clean them out. It is very time consuming though, so keep that in mind, but it's really worth it. That's another source of cheap submarine materials, basically. Okay, so let's try out the roofs. So there you go, 3 dark steel ingots. That's like 12k, and I only paid like 2k for the item. And I got 12k out of it. So assuming it would cost 4k, which you saw earlier, it was actually 12k. So if we count current prices, I got 36k out of that, decent. Okay, so let's go. Roofs. Molybdenum is also used in some submarine components. Mainly the modified sea bridge. You see 20 crystals each. You get the guild back just in crystals, honestly. It's really good. 3 cobalt joint plates there. You can get up to 20 cobalt joint plates doing this. Sometimes per decent. And the Fieldcraft Demi-Materia Grade 2 is good for housing items. Some housing items are require that for crafting them in the recipe. So those are good to resell. You make most of your guild backs reselling those. You look at that, 15 cobalt joint plates there. So this is another very good way to get cobalt joint plates. And you need fuck ton of cobalt joint plates. It's ridiculous how many you need for doing a submarine fleet. I must have gone through 100Ks of cobalt joint plates by now. At least 100k, no exaggeration. So if you have the finances in real life, and planning to do a second fleet, having a second service account is almost a must. So I run my main account on my PS5 and then as another account on the PC. I use the other account for FC making, as I mentioned earlier, for quicksynthing as well. It has saved me so much trouble, because I can resend subs on my main account while my other account is doing quicksynth. So that you can multitask and be more efficient in this. So don't do a submarine fleet unless you have tons of time and on your hands and finances running sub 2 accounts. Yeah. For pure titanium and cryptomeria logs to craft the modified components, I mostly bought them on NA data centers a few months ago when they were 7k each. I bought like 90 million worth and then transferred it to EU. But right now, I think the prices will go up to over 15k again because of the new NA data center. So right now I have 2 FCs, soon to be 3, farming them myself. So you can do this, I think at I'm not rank 94, I think you can start at rank 93. I need to run that in the mock ship again. And I will show you how to use mock ship as well for submarine builds. But I think it's 93, I'll double check later. So you can, at 93 you can start using this build with a Shark, Sildra, Shark, Sea Bridge. So SYSC. And you can farm this efficiently. You can farm crypto and pure titanium efficiently with this build. It's a 1-day voyage. And the 2 first zones of the Sea of Ash. South Isle, Zozonan, and Wreckage of the Windwalker. So it's just those 2 zones, almost 24-hour voyage every day. And you should have plenty in a month. I'm gonna see how much I'll get in a month with 2 FCs running this. I have this and another FC running this. And you can start doing that with a modified version of this build. So modified Shark, modified Sildra Stern, modified Shark Bow, and modified Sea Bridge. You can start it at rank 78 if you're doing the modified version and you want to farm earlier. So I have that one on way. That FC that is waiting for it is rank 75, so 3 more ranks to go. And I will have 3 FCs farming this. So I'll see how much I'll get. So that's what I do with Cryptomeria. Alright, time to show you mockship.com. You can use mockship to see the builds and see the best route for most XP. Let's go through the XP calculator first. So for example, we run SSUW, which is the build I'm using, that I showed that I'm using for leveling up faster. And we are let's put it rank 48 here. I should probably zoom a little bit so you can see better. Let me do that. Okay, so a hull, stern, bow, bridge, you just SSUW, that's a build that I'm using to level up. And my rank is 48 and I want to see the route that gives me the most experience right now. So search, click search, scroll down, and you can see this first route gets you 1.375 million experience. The sector, these are the sectors in order that you have to go to. So it's really nice for that. And if you don't have any of these sectors unlocked, you just go here, must exclude sector. So for example, we don't have the flickering dip unlocked yet, but we still want to see the most XP route. So click that and you search again. and we will get one without flickering dip. So you can use this for XP calculation if you are not sure. After a while you will learn you will not need this. Maybe only at the beginning till you get familiar with the zones. Now I just do it by muscle memory. I don't even do this anymore. So that's for the XP calculator. Now sectors, if you're not sure how to unlock one zone, you can see which unlocks it. For example, if you haven't unlocked the concealed bay, you just go to concealed bay and unlocks via the Mystic Basin. And if you don't have that, you look at Mystic Basin, see which unlocks that, and so on. So that's for unlocking the zones. And then we have builds calculator. So I wasn't sure earlier which rank I needed to be able to farm the pure titanium and cryptomeria. So I said rank 93, right? So let's type rank 93. Okay, and then the build is, let's tick off everything here. You do that by clicking here. And our build is S Y S C bridge. That's the build. Rank 93, search. So at rank 93 we have 173 surveillance, which is more than enough. We only need 155 for those first two Sea of Ash zones. Retrieval 222, that's way overkill as well. If you want to check how much stats you need for each sector to bring the best results possible, we go to the loot table made by Mystic Airship calculator. Mystic Phoenix. Mystic Spirit from Phoenix. Thanks to Mystic Spirit from Phoenix for making this. Let's zoom in a little bit. So you go to sub loot tab. Here you can see every sector. And if we go to the Sea of Ash, the first two zones is what we need for cryptomeria and pure titanium. So there are 3 tiers of subs. Tier 1, tier 2 and tier 3. 3 tiers of loot. And if you don't have, it says tier 3 150, and pure titanium is categorized under tier 3. So if we have less than 150 surveillance, we will not get any at all, ever. So be careful. You need at least 150 for the South Isle Zozonan, and then 155 for the next one, for the Wreckage of the Windwalker, to get cryptomeria logs. So that's how you check the stats. And the other one is for retrieval, the quantity of them we get when it does drop. So we need to meet the quantity. And favor is for double dipping, for getting basically another drop from the same zone. So if you don't have the 140, you will not double dip. So that's how you check how much stats you need when you are going for a zone. And you can use the mock ship to see if your build meets those stats. If your build and the rank it is at meet those stats. And you can up there select the route. So it's Sea of Ash, South Isle and Wreckage of the Windwalker. Click those two. And it tells us that we need 38 range. Distance, under distance, that's the range. And here it also does tell us for the optimal surveillance and optimal retrieval as well. 205 optimal retrieval, 155 optimal surveillance. And favor 140. Make sure you meet those with your build. So surveillance, we have more than needed. Retrieval, we have more than needed. Any more than you need is useless, so don't go out of your way to get more than you need. Speed is kinda up to you if you want more time to resend. It's not as important. As long as it's done under 24 hours, I think it's enough. So at 143 speed, type the speed here. and it will tell you how long it takes. The voyage takes. It's 21 hours 54 minutes. We have the range, we have more than enough range at that rank. And favor 144. We have 4 more than needed. Let's see if rank 92 meets the favor or not. So change the rank here, 92. Search again. Okay. We can start. Okay, 92 works too. Let's try 91. So you can just like change your settings and see if your build is suitable for what you wanna farm. Okay, so we can start at rank 90 maybe even. Let's try that with the SYSC build. Yep, 140 favor, 220, 100. Yeah, so you don't need rank 93. Ignore what I said earlier. You only need rank 90 to start farming pure titanium with SYSC and Cryptomeria logs. So that's how you look up. And for example, let's say another scenario is that you have a specific component and you want to try to see what you can do with it. So right now I have a whale bow. I don't know what to do with modified whale bow. So you select that. And for example, I want to use the modified whale bow for farming pure titanium and Cryptomeria logs. So I want to see which build that uses the bow can be done with it. So minimum I need 155 surveillance, type that. Minimum retrieval I need 200. Let's see, how much retrieval was it? 205 optimal. So 205 retrieval. And speed doesn't matter. I guess if you want a minimum speed to do it at, you can type that if you want. Range I need at least 38 range. Was it 38? Yeah, distance 38. I need minimum 38, otherwise this won't work. Favor 140. And let's say I want to see if I can use the bow, the whale bow, to find a build at rank, let's say 80. If there is any build that can farm it using the bow. Just click search. It gives you a bunch of builds now that can do it using the whale bow. So that's how I just use this as an example how you look stuff up on Mockship. It's a really useful tool. So thanks to the creator of mockship.com. We really appreciate this. That's how you use it. You can support them if you want on Patreon. If you can, it would be appreciated because they did a good job with this tool. Alright, so that's Mockship. Here's my spreadsheet that I used to keep track of how every FC is doing, what are they doing, which build they are using, and so on. So this one is the Cerberus, and then the characters I have. And then how many repair kits they have left, how many Ceruleum Tanks, which build they are using, just to have an overview of my situation for each FC, which garden they are doing, what are they farming with the garden outside, because I utilize the gardens as well to get the most out of it. As I mentioned earlier, you can get a lot of the materials that you use to build the submarines. And last, I updated. Words are hard. Okay, so yeah, I use that. This is for EU, for my EU fleet. I still need to. I recently made this, so I haven't been able to do it for every alt just yet. It's a work in progress. And I have one for Oceania. Oceania is more updated, for the most part. So this is my fleet of Oceania. And then NA will be filled soon. I just started expanding in NA with the new servers. And JP I need to update as well. I have 5 subs in JP, 5 FCs. So that's what I do with the management. And for guild calculation I have this. what each accessory sells for to the vendor, and every time at the end of the month I calculate how much each FC made, how much guild each FC made. So this is that, and then I summarize all of them for that month. So here's the data for October 2022. I made 577 million. In September I made 458. As you can see, it was a big jump from August to September and then to October, because that's when the lottery system and new housing came out and I was able to expand my fleet. So it has been increasing by a lot for the last 3 months, and it's only gonna keep increasing more, because I think with 85 FCs, once they are all on farm, I may go up to 1 billion a month. Plus I haven't even expanded yet on NA, which I'm planning. This is I was keeping track of how much I'm making with combed wool racks, but yeah, it's hard to do because prices go up and down, and you have to undercut a lot, so I don't do that anymore. And then what am I using to keep track of the submarines? This is an app called Free Countdown Timer. You can download it for free, which you can put alarms, basically timers, for your submarines. So each submarine, how long the voyage is, you put it up, hours left, minutes left, and it will tell you when it comes back. These ones down here are the ones I need to resend. So many subs to resend, look at that. I've been busy making this video, so I haven't been resending so much subs. So I have to get on that soon. I do that mostly on my live streams. Get excited when I get a lot of loot. We just chill, run good music, and just resend subs for the most part nowadays. Alright, so that's that. That's the app for timers. I think I covered everything here. Oh yeah, I just want to add that during your commute to work or school or wherever you're going when you're out and about, you can use the PS5 remote play to connect your phone to your PS5 and resend your submarines and retainers or whatever else you want to do. So just disconnect here. Just keep in mind it uses a lot of data, so unless you have unlimited 5G, I recommend just using Wi-Fi if the bus have Wi-Fi or something. But I do have unlimited 4G data, so I don't have that issue. But it's a really good tool to I have like 80 minutes commute to work, so this is really useful. When I go in the morning, I resend a lot of subs. It's really nice. This is how it's like. This is an old video selling my few months worth of submarine loot. Well, I think I pretty much covered everything that I wanted to go through for managing the fleet. I'm obviously mostly live streaming the process too, so if you have any questions, feel free to come hang out, and you're always welcome. Alright, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Hope you found it helpful. If you did, please leave a like, it will really help with the YouTube algorithm. And I'll see you in my next guide. Take care. Bye bye.